This isn't an idea I haven't done before, or more should I say, I've used the concept of Naruto switching places with Minato and Minato switching places with Naruto, but I've never done them switching places with each other in real time. The concept is this: Naruto will become Minato and Minato will become Naruto. Naruto will try to keep things historical while Minato tries to do his best with the power he's given. It'll work on a linear timeline, meaning if Naruto changes anything in the past, the future will also change. So let's start this up and see what happens. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Hovering above a very particular house in Konoha was a man of dark skin and light-colored hair. His eyes gazed through circular glasses with a slight yellow tint to them. It was Fu. What's that? He's not a Naruto villain? Oh yes, you are correct, he's not. But ever since he's decided to see what the Naruto world would be like if Naruto and Sasuke fused, you should watch that video by the way, he's had nothing but an interest in this new world of shinobi. Looking through the window like a very scientific creep, he realized that this was the point in time where Minato was to be informed by his wife that he was to be a father. Oh, how sweet! This is very interesting indeed. I wonder if there's another way for me to change this. A slight shift in possibilities. Pulling out his time cutter, he pointed at Minato. Click! And that's another anchor dropped. He then cut through the very fabric of space and time and passed on through. On the other side, he found a separate area. And since there's no Supreme Kai protecting time here, I can do whatever I want and get away with it, he said to himself, going a little wild over his newly found freedom. This world might have been even better than his own world. He loved being able to do whatever he wanted without even so much as a peep from the Time Patrol. He was approximately 12 years in the future. At this point, the old house which the Hokage had lived in was empty and dilapidated, mostly wrecked from the Nine-Tails attack, never truly repaired. So, where's the bean burrito they were cooking in the oven? He would move off to Naruto's apartment where he would hover in the air outside of the window. Looking in, he saw the boy sleeping, sprawled out halfway out of the covers. Hello there, he said as he looked down at him, pulling out his time cutter once again. And click! That's the second anchor dropped. Now let's get back to the command center and see what we can do with this. Fu would then carve another portal through space-time that led to his laboratory. Going to the microwave, he grabbed some popcorn and a bottle of Hercule Cola before plopping down in his seat. He turned on two monitors. The one on the left showed Minato Namikaze, while the one on the right showed Naruto Uzumaki. He checked a few instruments. Everything's green. Let's begin the experiment! With the push of a button, an odd instance occurred. The screen then flashed the words, "Switcheroo in progress." As Kushina explained it all to him, suddenly a different light shined from Minato's eyes. What? What's this? He asked, looking down at himself. Minato, are you alright? Kushina asked. Minato? My name's Naruto, lady. Kushina was a bit surprised. No, that's the name of our baby. Naruto was confused as he looked at Kushina. Kushina was starting to get a little worried about Minato. I think you need some rest, baby. You've been working a bit too hard. She would take Minato, or who I will be referring to henceforth as Naruto, by the hand and take him to the bedroom where she would tuck him under the covers. Naruto was looking around. But I just got up. She would turn off the light. You sleep, Minato. I'll go finish my work. I'll be back later on tonight. Naruto laid there for a moment and began trying to understand what was going on. My name is Minato, he said as he looked at himself. Crawling out of bed, he walked to the mirror in the bathroom just off of the bedroom. I still kinda look like me. Like, this is probably what I would look like as a 20-ish-year-old guy, but who am I, really? He continued to investigate the room. He saw pictures of himself, or Minato, and the woman who he just talked to. He continued investigating when he found his own ID, Minato Namikaze. He then tried to understand who the woman was and found her ID as well. Kushina Uzumaki? That's my last name. It then began to hit. Wait, she's pregnant with a baby named Naruto. What are the chances that they're having a baby who has my name? He was confused and getting nervous, about to pass out, so he lay back down in bed and turned on the TV to calm himself. The news was on. It was then that Naruto realized that the date on the TV was approximately 12 years behind what it was supposed to be. No way. Did I time travel back? Then that means I switched places with my father. Fu giggled as he watched. For such a dullard, he picked up on that pretty fast. Maybe he's not as dumb as he seems. Let's see what the other guy's doing. Naruto, or should I now say Minato, opened his eyes in Naruto's little apartment. What happened last night? He sat up and started thinking. Was that all just a dream? He wondered. Hey, Ku! Ku! He sat up, his feet dangling off the bed. She must have gone out to the store or something. He got up out of bed and stumbled for a second. He couldn't quite grasp what was different. His mind was way too groggy. He began making his way to the bathroom and got lost a couple of times in various different closets. What was I doing again? He asked as he walked into the closet. Man, I gotta pee. He turned around and began making his way to the bathroom for real this time. He took a deep breath, looked up at the ceiling, and relieved himself. As per his ritualistic instincts, if he had accidentally peed on the seat, he wiped it up with his socked foot before making his way to the sink to wash his hands. He opened his eyes and looked into his baby blues and messy golden hair with a smile. He dried his head and then stepped outside. He then put it in reverse and came back to the mirror. He looked in again. Why am I a kid again? He asked as he looked at himself. He was only just now noticing things. Wait, whose apartment is this? He stepped outside and noticed his pajamas. These aren't mine. His mind suddenly sharpened. Something's not right. He put his fingers up. I'm in a genjutsu. Release, he shouted. Nothing happened. This must be a powerful genjutsu. He decided that the only way to wake himself up was through pain, so he ran full force into the wall and knocked himself onto his back. Ow, son of a... He stood. All right, that must have not been enough. I gotta try again. He ran at the wall again, this time knocking his shoulder out of socket. Mama, he whimpered as he laid there. A few moments passed until he heard a buzz at the door. He went to open it to see Hiruzen there. Are you okay? Your neighbors reported a disturbance. Hiruzen, thank heavens you're here. Something weird is happening. Hiruzen then noticed the dents in the wall and the way that Minato was holding his arm. Are you okay? Hiruzen then made Minato show him his arm. Your shoulder's out of place. With a quick yank and an unholy crackle, his arm was back in socket. Yow! Minato shouted as he held his arm again. At least now he could move it well. Hiruzen looked into his eyes with compassion. Naruto, are you okay? Is this a cry for help? Are you doing self-harm to get attention? What? No, I'm just... Wait, did you say Naruto? Minato looked around the room and then down at himself. Hiruzen was nervous. Naruto? Minato pointed to himself. Me? I'm Naruto? Hiruzen began to sweat a bit. You must have given yourself a concussion. He then threw Naruto over his shoulder and made for the door. What are you doing? Put me down, Minato shouted. No, I'm taking you to the hospital. Something isn't right. I've got to make sure everything in your noggin is still working. He dragged Minato off to the hospital where Minato was forced to undergo a CAT scan and various other tests. Once he was cleared, he was allowed to leave, though Hiruzen really wanted him to stay. Minato returned to his apartment. This isn't where I live. Entering the abode once again, he looked at the mirror. This isn't my body. It's like my body was at this age, but it's different. Really different. Looking at his pajamas, he decided to change out of them and into something better. He went to his closet and saw row after row of the same offensively orange jumpsuit and a pair of sandals that smelled as bad as one might imagine. Grabbing the Lysol, he hoped it had enough oomph to it to kill whatever was making it smell that way. He then began to investigate. This isn't a genjutsu, so this must be some other kind of technique, but what? He started to overthink what Hiruzen said. He called me Naruto, not to mention, now that I think about it, he was a bit saggier than he was before, with a few more wrinkles. Minato began to wonder if everyone had experienced this. Was this some new world-altering genjutsu? Perhaps Tsukiyomi? There was no other explanation. He turned on the television to find that apparently 12 years had passed. The news anchors were not the same, save one or two who would grade a lot. The set was different as well. He began looking for more clues. He found a student ID for the academy. It said Uzumaki Naruto on it and stated that he was 12 years old, born ironically on the year that Minato knew it was before. He began to put the pieces together. Am I in the body of my own son? Fu was laughing. How backwards. Minato's smarter than Naruto, and yet he wasn't as quick to pick up on this. How odd. He then looked back to Naruto. What are you up to? All things considered, Naruto went back to sleep. When the lights were turned out, considering he'd been sleeping moments earlier, he decided to try and sleep again. For all Naruto knew, he'd just been in a dream and needed to wake up. But when he woke the next morning, he was still in this body. Okay, so it wasn't a dream. It was for real. So what could the explanation be? Time travel? Maybe this is like Freaky Friday, except I didn't get into a fight with my dad. I don't even know my dad. Maybe that's why? He then looked out the window and only saw 3 faces on the mountain. Wait, there's supposed to be one more up there beside Grandpa Hiruzen. Who was that guy again? He thinks for a second. Must not be important. He walks away. He would then head downstairs where Kushina was cooking breakfast. She looked back and saw him. Oh yeah, this must be my mom, he said. She walks over to Naruto and wraps her arms around his shoulders. Good morning, my love. Did you sleep well? As awkwardly as you would guess, Naruto answers, yes, indeed. I did indeed sleep good. Kushina smiled. Fantastic. She pushed her head forward to kiss him, but Naruto's head is pulling back with every inch she grows closer until eventually he breaks away. She's a little confused by this. Minato, is everything okay? Everything's fine. Everything's good. How are you? Inside his own head, Naruto's doing a facepalm. Kushina steps back toward the stove, looking over her shoulder only once with a sort of awkward smile. Naruto sits down at the table and picked up a newspaper. Oh yeah, old people read these. Maybe I should too, just to keep playing the part until I figure out how to undo this. Naruto begins to read. Oh, the Third Shinobi World War's happening. I forgot about that. Wait, does that mean I have to fight? I'm barely trained enough to do anything. I'll get myself killed. He seems suddenly worried. What will happen to me if I mess up this timeline? Would I just never exist? He looks over at Kushina. She's pregnant with me now, so surely I'm still going to exist. I hope. Kushina then brought him some breakfast. So, are you sure you can't push off the mission just a little bit longer? She asked. Mission? Naruto asked. Which one? Oh, Kanabi Bridge. You're still doing that, aren't you? She asked. Naruto sat there in silence for a moment. I'll have to check in with the Hokage, who is... He was trying to bait her into finishing his sentence. She did not take the bait, so he just said it again. The Hokage, who is... When she failed to answer a second time, he just came out with it. Who's the current Hokage? Kushina was surprised. It's Hiruzen. You're telling me you don't remember? She stood and walked over to check his head for a fever. Baby, I feel like there's something wrong. You need to go to the hospital. No, I'm fine. Don't worry. Kushina seemed upset. I don't want you to be having a stroke. I'm pregnant. I can't do this without you. She began to cry. I'm not having a stroke, he said. Yes, you are, she whined. You don't remember your own name. You don't know who the Hokage is. You're having a stroke or something and you're dying. Naruto shook his head. Fine. I'll go to the hospital. Would that make you stop crying? She sucked it up immediately and sat down with a smile before taking up his newspaper. Naruto shook his head. Dang. He went to the door. I'll see you later then. He went to the hospital to have his head checked out. Was there the possibility that he really was Minato and just having some sort of psychotic breakdown and believing he was Naruto? No, there was no way. He couldn't just let himself be gaslit into thinking there was something wrong. He was released with a clean bill of health after a once-over. He decided that the best thing he could do was go to Hiruzen himself. What should I say, he asked. I'll just roll with it. He walked to the Hokage's office where he knocked on the door. Hiruzen called him in. Ah, Minato. What's going on? Is there something you needed? Naruto nodded. Yeah. I need you to help catch me back up to speed on some stuff. Why is that? Hiruzen asked. Naruto thought about it. I hit my head really hard a couple days ago while training, and I only just today went to the hospital because I can't remember anything. I have amnesia. Hiruzen was shocked. Oh no, are you sure you're okay? Do you need to sit? Naruto shook his head. No, I'm fine. I just went to the doctor and they gave me a clean bill of health except for the amnesia. I need you to tell me everything I need to do, and also I need you to teach me all the skills I once had and the knowledge I need to survive on the battlefield. Hiruzen looked on silently for a moment before bursting into laughter. Naruto started laughing as well. You always were hilarious, Minato, but seriously, did you hurt yourself? Naruto nodded. I did hurt myself, and my amnesia is real. I just need some help getting back up to speed. Hiruzen nodded. Well, getting you back to work might do you some good. It might remind you of all the things you forgot. Let's start with your upcoming mission. You'll be heading out to Kusagakure to destroy a bridge known as Kanabi Bridge. This bridge is an important supply line for Iwagakure. You'll be taking out your 3 pupils, Kakashi, Rin, and Obito. It's your mission to destroy it. Naruto nodded. And where is this bridge again? Hiruzen's smile faded. Are you sure you're okay? Naruto nodded. I'm great, I'm just a little confused. Hiruzen sat forward. You know, your squad is made up of Chunin, with Kakashi even being Jonin. If required, he can lead the mission while you just stay in the village. I can go, Naruto said. I'm just going to require some help, like knowing what to do. Hiruzen sat back in his chair. I can make Kakashi the lead if you want. Naruto nodded. That would be preferable. Fu watched on. Let's see how Mini Minato is doing. Minato was in the academy. He showed up to school only to realize that there was planned to be a test to see whether or not the students were ready to become genin. Surely my son is studied. I bet he's a great shinobi. I think I'll just make sure he passes. So when it was his turn, Minato didn't just make a clone, he made 3, and they were all shadow clones that could be felt. Minato was passed on the spot. He would receive a headband as the rest of the kids did and would be told to meet them there the day after next to be put onto a team. As Minato spent his free day alone, he decided to try and get caught up on world events. He went to the library to look for important world events since the time he recalled. He took a book out of the library about world history and began to examine it. He looked first through Konoha. He learned of the end of the war, the Nine-Tails attack, the Hyuga affair, and the subsequent downfall of the Uchiha. He was shocked that so much bad stuff had happened during his time. But what really freaked him out was that it said that he, or the real he that everyone knew him as Minato Namikaze, perished 12 years earlier on October 10th, killed by the Nine-Tails after having helped reseal it away. I died, he said with a bit of cold sweat. He sat back down and began to ponder these things. The Uchiha were blamed for this all happening and attempted a coup led by Fugaku. Minato was blown away. Fugaku was the most staunch supporter of Konoha among the entire Leaf. There was no way he would consent to something like that. He then read that it was Fugaku's own son who destroyed the Uchiha. I can't believe it. Itachi. He was a pacifist. What kind of twisted future is this? Minato looked down. If I'm in Naruto's body, then does that mean that Naruto's in mine? Is he in the past changing things? Would a few changes really do all this? I feel like he'd have to screw up royally to get this to happen. He looked up and shouted, Naruto, you better not be screwing anything up. Suddenly, Naruto seemed to react as he sat in Hiruzen's office. Fu sat forward. Wait, did Naruto actually hear that? He paid attention to Naruto's screen. I'm not screwing anything up. Fu almost spilled his popcorn. He did hear it. Not screw what up, Hiruzen asked. Naruto shook his head. Sorry, I was talking to myself. I was afraid that I might screw stuff up if I wasn't careful, but I told myself I wouldn't. Hiruzen was growing more and more concerned. I don't think you should go on this mission, Minato. Naruto shook his head. No, I can do it. I'm fine. I just need to jog my memory a little. All the while Naruto was talking, Fu was checking his instruments and papers. I've never seen this before. Their minds are linked beyond even space and time. It's like, despite being separated from his body, Minato still has a connection with it, and the same with Naruto. Does this mean that the two of them can communicate? How interesting. Naruto would return home and try to push the story to Kushina as an explanation. Baby, you hit your head, you didn't tell me. Why not? It's dangerous hiding that kind of thing from me. What if you died? Naruto looked down in shame, not because he didn't tell her he hit his head, because he didn't, but because he was telling a bald-faced lie to his own mother. The shame was real. The reason, though, was different, but he knew it would be better this way. I'm sorry, I just didn't want to alarm anyone, but now that I can't remember anything, it's becoming an issue. I'm slowly jogging my memory, but the doctor said it could be a long time before I remember everything, if ever. Kushina came to him in an attempt to offer him a kiss for comfort, but Naruto turned to the side to offer his jaw, which she found suspect but didn't say anything. She kissed his cheek. It'll be okay. I'll help you remember. I'll take it personally to go over our whole life story with you if I have to. Good. Can we do that after I get back from the mission? Naruto asked. What mission? Kushina asked. She was surprised. You're still going on the Kanami Bridge mission? With amnesia? Are you insane? Naruto shook his head. No, I have to do this. My team's being called up and I can't let them just do this alone. Despite her protests, she relented, knowing that Minato had a duty. Just be safe. Getting out to the field, Naruto would meet up with his team and prepare to perform the mission. While he was doing this though, he was informed of a good few shinobi being pinned down. Despite this, Naruto didn't see how he could realistically help, not to mention that he was already on another mission. He considered going to help, but what could he do? He wasn't equipped to take down anyone like that, so he forwarded it to the nearest leader, that being Fugaku, who said he would go and help out the stranded shinobi. Naruto and the others would then begin preparations to do their mission. Naruto followed after the team. For the most part, his presence there hadn't slowed them down much, and he was getting the hang of it. His father had seemingly trained so much that his body was trained to think on its own, meaning that if Naruto let his mind go in the heat of battle, he found he was capable of doing ninjutsu he'd never studied before. All of it being muscle memory. He was starting to pick things up, but it felt like he was learning more about these techniques as time passed. However, they were eventually stopped by Iwanin, who would take Rin hostage. Obito and Kakashi would debate on whether or not they should go back to her, with Kakashi stating that they shouldn't. That wasn't going to fly with Naruto. Naruto decided that they should go back. Considering that Minato had senior authority over Kakashi, Kakashi had no choice but to listen, so the three of them fled after her, eventually finding her in a cave. On the outside, Kakashi ended up losing an eye in a battle trying to save Obito, an event that awakened Obito's Sharingan. In the end, Obito managed to kill their assailant. Naruto checked up on Kakashi. "Man, looks like that peeper's totaled," he said, unable to properly word it for Kakashi's sake. And together they made their way to the cave where they managed to drive off the final Iwanin. But in revenge, he decides to bring the whole place down. In a moment of panic, Naruto's instincts kick in. He grabs the two closest to him, that being Rin and Obito, and uses the speed of the yellow flash to get him out of the cave. He then realizes that Kakashi's still in there. He runs to the mouth of the cave and sees Kakashi running as fast as he can. "Run, Kakashi!" he shouts. Kakashi's moving as fast as his legs will carry him. He's a lightning release user, so he decides to attempt the Chidori, but before he can, he's smashed in the side of the head by a rock. Naruto goes to enter the cave to grab him, but before he can, the cave collapses. Naruto is flung back. "Kakashi!" He approaches the cave again, as do Obito and Rin. They start digging through the rubble. As they do so, they eventually find Kakashi's body there. "Kakashi!" Obito shouts. Kakashi lays there, blinded and the only eye that remains exposed, his other likely crushed under the stone. "Kakashi, can you hear us?" Naruto asks. Kakashi groans and speaks weakly. "Minato-sensei." "I'm here," Naruto says. Kakashi reaches out for his hand. "I don't want to die," he says. Naruto was unable to formulate anything to say. "You'll be okay." For a moment, Kakashi was silent. He then spoke. "Dad." His hand then fell to the side. "Kakashi!" Obito shouted. He gripped his head. "If it hadn't been for me, he wouldn't have been blinded in that eye. Then he would have been struck by that rock. He could have escaped." Naruto looked at Obito, and suddenly Obito looked up and showed his Mangekyo Sharingan. In that moment, they were surrounded by shinobi on all sides. Obito stood and saw them. In his anger, he let out a ferocious battle cry, a sound Naruto wasn't aware a child like him could even make. He dashed forward to strike his opponents, passing through their blades with Kamui before striking them with his own, stabbing them in the heart. And as he was approached from behind, the arm of an incomplete Susanoo appeared and smashed them. Naruto watched as Obito's tears turned to blood, and the ground was stained in the bile and internal fluids of all his enemies. All Naruto could do was shield Rin's eyes, hugging her close. Obito managed to single-handedly kill all the shinobi by himself. He would then pass out. Naruto would take the remains of his squad to safety and let them rest. Despite how hard it was, they did manage to finish their mission. Fu then turned his attention back to Minato. "Wow, he saved that Uchiha kid instead of the one-eyed kid. I wonder what that'll do." Minato would head to the office and take a seat. There he saw Sakura and Sasuke. Looking at Sasuke, he knew that he was the last Uchiha alive besides Itachi. Such a shame, considering that Fugaku was what Minato would consider his best friend. The two always went out for drinks. Heck, Fugaku was his best man at his wedding. As bad as this future was, Minato was at least glad that he could be there for Sasuke. He sat down, taking his seat. He waited for the Jonin that had been assigned to his team to show up. Whoever they were fashionably late, if being late could be considered fashionable. But as he was about to get angry enough to lodge a complaint to the Hokage, he saw a hand wearing fingerless gloves grip the door and open it. A man walked in. "Hello, I'm your new Jonin. My name is Obito Uchiha." Minato was confused. "Wait, Uchiha? You're an Uchiha too?" Obito nodded. "Yes?" Minato then looked back. "I thought that Sasuke and Itachi were the last Uchiha left alive after the massacre." Obito shook his head. "Far from it. There are a lot of Uchiha left. The massacre wasn't that bad. I personally killed Itachi. My apologies, by the way, Sasuke." Sasuke nodded. "My brother walked his own path, and he had to deal with the consequences." Minato was confused. He then pulled out the history book again and sought out the chapter about the Uchiha downfall, only to see that it had been replaced with the Midnight Massacre, an event in which Itachi Uchiha attempted to destroy the Uchiha all by himself but failed, resulting in his death at the hands of Obito, who would go on to become a hero of the Leaf after he stopped such an uprising from occurring. Something in the past has changed. Something important, Minato thought. Let's hope this doesn't change everything for the worse. And that's where I plan to end it for today. Honestly, when I started this, I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it. After all, Minato doesn't have all that much history, and considering that I would have to shorten it to a time after Naruto was conceived, I didn't really want to have to explain that. I was afraid that I simply wouldn't have enough story to make anything super big. But I am pleased to say that his history seems to be going a good bit farther than I expected, even cut down a little bit. Not to mention, I'm really enjoying using Fu again. I think he's going to be very interested in this universe moving forward, seeing how much he can do without getting in trouble. But anyway, what was your favorite part of the video? Is there anything you didn't like or would like to have seen done differently? Is there anything you want to see moving forward? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when more videos like this drop. And if you're hungry for more, here's some more videos that should carry you over until the next time. Until then, peace out.